What am I up to today? Well, let's see here. We got the back half of the panel support sort of painted up, just in case there's any small gaps, since I've got a three-piece panel. And it's wiring time. So what I'm doing is I've got all the wires done from that aft fuse all the way up to this mess here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking an approach where I started at the rear of the plane, made sure everything from there forward is wired up, and at least I have a wire run where I need it to be. So we have all of these done down here. The flat motor works. I can hook a battery up to that and I can show that it works. It's cool. We've got antenna wires running back there for the two GPS antennas, everything else. So now everything from here backward is done. Now it's time to look at what's coming in from the wings. So this side I've got, this is the co-pilot side, right? So it's got the magnetometer, which needs power. It's got the autopilot servo, which needs power, and trim, and a trim or an AP disconnect. And then the trim servo needs inputs that go back in. So what I'm going to do is, I've already got those connectors on the wings that we've seen in other videos, and now it's just a matter of basically running wire from here up to the panel area where those wires are going to terminate, and sort of bundling them together and making sure I've got enough length where they're going to go. So I've got the layout all set. So again, here's the COM2 transponder, MFD is over here. We've seen it before. We've got the autopilot controller, the GPS, and the SDS controller here. PFD over here with the G5, bunch of switches, comm panel, remote, and then in the back here I need to mount it again so that we can make sure all the runs are correct. VPX is right here. SDS electronic engine control module is here, and then underneath those two is the GAD29 data collector, data concentrator, I think they call it, and then the engine monitor GEA24. So most of those don't matter for what I'm doing here from the wings, but yeah, here's all the sort of wiring that's going to be ready to be strung through in different ways. Oh yeah, I got the lights out there too, which have to be wired up as well, but those are pretty easy. Those are just direct, power to the VPX. All right, let's go.
Yeah, it's got a mess of wires there. That's not even all of them. And I'm just bundling them up to get them in place. Or get them out of the way. Yeah, get them out of the way so I can install this silly thing. It turned out to be a pretty good idea to put this thing together like that. I guess I could have permanently attached it too, but then I'd have to put individual things up there. Like individual devices.
For the hardware I'm using, these are a nice number 8 screw with a hex head. Makes the install a bit easier when you can just put a ratchet type, a socket on there. It'll be easier if I have to uninstall it later. I really hope I don't, but I probably will, because that's how this always goes. So I just have to take it back apart later for some dumb reason.
Yeah, and those screws or bolts or whatever you want to call them, machine screws, they are NAS 1801-08. I should put that on the screen. I'll do that. And I haven't had to take it out, so, I mean, they're great, but I haven't needed to use them.
So you might be asking, why would you do this and limit your access so greatly? Well, because the wires for the vertical power stuff, see if I can find one. They have ends on them. Anyway, they're pre-crimped. They've got ends on them. And I don't have a crimper for those. So what we're going to do is we're going to install them into the adapters here, like this one, and hook it up to the vertical power to make sure that I have the proper wiring lengths. I may end up just, wiring it up, taking this shelf back out for access to actually tidy up everything, because as you can see, it got really tight in here now. But you got to do what you got to do, and it's like I can't even access. I guess I could use a ratchet on those, but man, that's a disconnect the battery before you do that if you're going to do that later on. I guess no, that would come on with the master switch. So yeah, anyway, even if I was accessing it through one of the access holes. All right, let's do some wiring.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't had to take it out. It's been in there for 8 months, 9 months, hasn't moved, which is great. Means that I did something right, maybe, I think, I don't know. Yeah, this is basically gonna be what happens now is the power wires that are coming from the VPX, I'm hooking them up front first and running them down through the wing, and anything that's going back up from the wings, I'm running it from... Oh no, I'm putting them together up front. I should be running them outward together. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And labeling everything. Just saw the heat gun come out briefly. Everything gets labeled because everything is on the schematic in a certain way. And it's all got to get labeled so that way I know later on when I go back to it what the heck it is. The wires and the wings, again, even though it's been 9 months, the wings are not on the plane. They are just dangling out the side still because, well, at the point of recording this audio, I'm actually just about done with all the panel wiring, but the plane's still in at home. The wings aren't going on it at home, so there's that. And I'm not going to put ends on those wires, with connectors until it's about time to put the wing on anyway. So having them labeled is extremely important. Some of them are very easy to know what they are, that without labels, because, well, they're very apparent. Something like the pitot heat is 2 wires wound together, and they're both like 14 gauge or something like that, 16 gauge. So it's not like it's going to get mistaken for anything else. Nothing else takes that big of a wire. And I think that's it right here. The black and white run together.
All right, so this is ridiculous. Last left off, just pulling some wire through, and then I realized, like, what am I going to do here, right? So this is the conundrum of running wiring. Like, I've got supports down there, those little clippies. Obviously, you can see that the antenna wire there is not running through one right now. That's fine. Those can come up later. But then I was like, well, shit, I've got this big ass return line coming out of the firewall that's got to kind of stay there. It's got to be able to be flexed. So what am I going to do with these wires?
And I was thinking, oh, I could tie up there, and I could like put some P clamps, maybe in that hole, this hole. I looked up a little bit, and I looked up and I saw this silly, simple, elegant solution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a piece of metal that just goes from here to there. Right, so between these two holes, and it's going to have holes in it like this one, and that I'm just going to freaking use it as a brace and just zip tie to it. Maybe it'll be in the front ones instead of the the aft ones instead of the front ones. We'll see. Either way, I can move to either one depending on what I need. I'll probably end up being the front ones, but that'll just be a nice support so long as I can maintain. I think it's like 12 inches between supports. Maybe it's 6. I have to look at 43.13-1B to make sure. But put something like that, piece of metal in there, zip tie the bundles to that as a support. Come from down there into this nice rounded area up here. So, yeah, got to do it.
Yeah, sorry about the audio there. Don't know what happened. Yeah, so we're going to take the piece that goes across, use it as a template to say, like, all right, this is how wide it's got to be. I think I created a couple of these. This might be the first one. This might be the second one. And I'll just cut it up on the bandsaw, fold up the edges, drill some holes in it, and then match drill it to the tunnel area there. It the issue you'll see is that I have created it just as wide as the top plate, but the top plate goes on top. It doesn't go inside. So yeah, whoops, got to take some off the edges there. And then I didn't like, I think, the way that I had originally folded the edges or something like that, so I created another one. So yeah, I think this is the first one. Yeah, this is the first iteration that I sort of put in place, basic, just gently on camera here, and after I bend it up. But the photo that I'll have at the end actually shows the final one, because this one I think I put some too big of edges on it, or flanges, I guess you'd call them. But yeah, this little parts like this are fun to do. You need them occasionally, and helps you get stuff done. So yeah, just make that up, put it in, and see how it works.
Cool. Now I'll put some holes in it and some zip ties along the bottom. It's going to be my wiring solution. As simple as it is. Love it.